Raise your hand if you think that education is probably the number one thing that is going to ensure your child grows up to be a successful young adult. Think about it. Education is the foundation upon which most of our financial and often personal success is based upon. Obviously, there are exceptions, and I think we kind of love those underdog stories and celebrate the outliers, those people who made it big despite dropping out of high school. Katy Perry, Jay-Z, Richard Branson. I think it's pretty safe to say that those are the exceptions and not the rule. Most, not all, successful people have had a really thorough education. For example, Harvard has the highest number of billionaires compared to other universities, and the highest number of millionaires, double the amount of Stanford, which was number 2 on that list. I'm Oliver, and I'm a family systems therapist, and I've worked with kids and families for my entire career. So if you're interested in parenting or family work, hit follow and subscribe. Or even better, if you want to know your own parenting style, take the parenting test. The link is below. I think it's natural for most parents to value education in the understanding that it's in our kids' best interest. Even if you and your family value the arts or your children are into acting or music, they need to be taught how to play instruments and how to act and dance. And on the flip side, if a child is failing algebra, I think it's very common for parents to hire a tutor because nobody wants to see their child struggle and fail in the topic that they find hard. My final argument in this debate about education is this. If you won the lottery, like millions, wouldn't you put your child in the best school in your area? Now, most often that's a private school with smaller classes and more support where you pay for the privilege of having teachers who are motivated and interested in helping your kid. Valuing education for our kids and ourselves is, in my opinion, something that you just can't go wrong with. There's a lot of misconceptions about tiger parents, which I hope to clear up. But the core of the tiger parent is their value and appreciation of education for their children because they love their kids and want them to succeed. If you're still not sold on this idea of education being so important, you might agree with me, though, that every child has talents or areas that they are better at than others. I'm not saying that in that every child is a unicorn and magical kind of way. I'm saying in a very practical way. We all excel in some areas and aren't so good in others. Like me, I'm kind of good with the feelings, but numbers, I'm a disaster. If somebody hands me a phone number on a piece of paper and I have to type it into my phone, there's like a 70% chance that one of those digits is going to enter my phone incorrectly. When we're raising our children, doesn't it just make sense to help them identify their strengths while perhaps also polishing up the other not so shiny areas? And of course, this happens naturally anyway. We're all going to spot what our kids excel at and nudge them in that direction. But what if we were more intentional about it? What if we took a more active stance in finding our kids' hidden treasures? Wouldn't that be more helpful to our kids? Wouldn't that save them those awkward years in between high school and college where they go and find themselves? This is another belief of the tiger parent. They want to help identify strengths. So tiger parenting in that regard sounds pretty fantastic to me. While identifying strengths is great, to really excel at something you're naturally talented at, you need to practice and master it. So the final belief of the tiger parent is that they encourage self-discipline, hard work, and instill a really strong work ethic around their kids' talents. Genius is 1% inspiration and 99 perspiration. You have to put in the time to be good at something even if you're naturally talented at it. This might be a tangent, but there's this girl on TikTok that I've been following for a while. Don't ask me how or why, I have no idea how TikTok works. But see if you can watch that video where she sings a song about her parents to her parents and not cry. Apparently, she was on American Idol about 8 years ago and came in third, released a single, but nothing really happened for her. From what I can gather from TikTok, in the 8 years since American Idol came out, she's been putting music out herself all the time, refining her art, and no surprises, her songs got better. In fact, just this summer, the song that she wrote for the girl that she babysits hit the Billboard charts. I know Victoria's Secret. She was made up by a dude. So her parents are actually in a few of these videos, and I don't get the sense that they're tiger parents by any means, but they've certainly been supportive of her interest in music. The point is that her parents saw her talent, encouraged it, drove her to all those lessons, paid for the lessons, drove her to auditions. You name it, they've been invested in it. And it still took years for this big hit to happen. So, what would be wrong in pushing, nudging, and encouraging hard work and discipline in your child if you knew that you were going to get to that Billboard #1 position a little sooner? That's the third part of being a tiger parent. It's about promoting hard work, self-regulation around your work and your talents. I mean, if Jax didn't have a strong work ethic, there would be no Victoria's Secret on my workout playlist. The term Tiger Mum was made famous by Amy Chu's memoir, Battle Hymn of the Tiger Mother. And since then, there's often been an assumption that all Asian or Chinese mums are tiger mums, or all tiger mums are Asian, and that is just not true. Number one, tiger parenting is not bound to any race. And number two, there's a vast array of research which shows us that parenting styles in Asian cultures are incredibly varied. I read some research which says, in fact, most modern Chinese parents don't actually subscribe to the tiger mum parenting style, nor do they believe that this model of parenting actually fosters the most successful children. I think tiger parenting is becoming a racial stereotype, and perhaps with a negative connotation that I wanted to shine a bit of light on in this video. It's actually our Western way of thinking that has a habit of wanting to put people into boxes. I mean, literally, there are 4 boxes that we have for parenting styles in the West. So I'm making this push for using the idea of the 4 dials of parenting instead of 4 boxes. And in actual fact, these 4 dials were the basis for the axes that we use to create the parenting chart anyway. I'm not making this up. If you've seen any of my other videos, you kind of might know that I love putting things on spectrums, not into boxes, because it gives us that variation and the ability to be different and flexible. When you put parenting on 4 different spectrums, there's an infinite number of combinations and variations. And that's why there's a new type of parent term coming out every other week, because there's so many options to choose from. And also, nobody likes being put in a box. So there are 4 basic components of parenting that help us become healthy, functioning adults. The first dial is about acceptance. We want to feel accepted by our parents, not rejected. This helps us develop a healthy sense of self-esteem, knowing that we are worthy of love and affection and loved. Number 2 is about warmth, and we want our parents to be warm and loving, not cold and distant, and that helps us create a sense of safety in relationships and lowers our anxiety. Control of behaviors is in the mix because we really need help controlling our behaviors when we're young. We don't know that you can't touch the hot oven or paint on walls or punch people, so we rely on our parents to help rein our behaviors in. And we want less of that the older we get. But even then, we still kind of rely on our parents for a while until our own internal guidance system has come online. Control of autonomy. You first experience this as a parent when the terrible twos hit. It's all about the sense of self coming online and your baby realizing that they're a person who's separate from you and trying to exert their will and independence by saying no. This becomes a battle almost that lasts most of childhood, with the child pushing to be an individual outside of their relationship with you and the family. I think it's pretty safe to say that the tiger parents dials are turned up to high on these last 2 dials. They're quite strict when it comes to behaviors and tough when it comes to controlling autonomy. They know what's best for their child and act accordingly. Part of the stereotype of the tiger mum is that they're mean or cold, which would imply their love and acceptance styles are turned all the way down. This is an assumption, and I don't know or believe that this is true of all tiger parents. So I'm leaving it in the middle because I suspect this varies from family to family. When I think of tigers, I see power, authority, and magnetism. And I think they give their cubs a reason to look up for them with their demand for respect. And the tiger parent is an authority when it comes to their children, sometimes demanding obedience or at least compliance in a similar sort of way. Tigers have a singularity about them when they're on the hunt, a focus on the prey, And I think tiger parents likewise are focused on achievement, success, and education. Tigers are incredibly protective of their cubs. I certainly wouldn't want to get in the way of a tiger and her litter. There's a ferocity there that comes from loving and caring for their offspring. And similarly, that determination and perhaps some forcefulness is present when it comes to a tiger parent and their child. Finally, we'd expect to see a tiger teach her litter to hunt and stalk. And I think the same is true of a tiger parent who takes on the responsibility of being a teacher, instructor, drill sergeant, and even a cheerleader. Research on the effects of tiger parenting has been mixed. Some studies have found that children of tiger parents tend to have higher academic achievement and success in school. For example, a study published in the Journal of Child Development found that Chinese American children of tiger parents had higher grades and test scores than children of other parenting styles. However, other research has suggested that tiger parenting may have negative effects on a child's well-being. A study published in the Journal of Family Psychology found that children of tiger parents reported lower levels of happiness and higher levels of stress and anxiety compared to children with other parenting styles. Another study from China that I found very interesting saw that children with tiger parents had higher levels of cortisol in their blood system, which is a hormone linked to stress. So it seems that while tiger parenting may be effective in producing high academic achievement and comes from a really well-meaning place, it may also have a negative effect on children's emotional well-being. Amy Chu herself says in her TED Talk that contemporary Chinese mothers are becoming more aware of the happiness that they might be taking away from their children if they go the tiger parent route. She suggests that the way forward is holding beliefs and values and traditions close while also being open to incorporating other strategies to their philosophy to bring more balance and flexibility to their approach, which sounds an awful lot like being open to moving other dials of the parenting spectrum up and down. We don't need boxes, we just all need to be able to move our dials a little bit. And remember, if our dials get stuck in any one position, that's when we often end up in trouble. We need that movement there. Hit follow and subscribe if you are into parenting and want to know more about a family systems take on parenting and raising kids.